On Tuesdays, the shadows stopped moving. Not all of them. Just the ones in room 4B at St. Clair's Middle School. I noticed it in 7th grade. Ms. Keller would write on the board, and her shadow would keep writing for 3 seconds after her hand stopped, like it was finishing her sentences. Nobody else seemed to notice. Or maybe they did and stayed quiet. Kids are good at pretending strange things aren't real if talking about them might get them sent to counseling. My name's Eli. I was 13, too skinny for my age, and terrified of being forgotten. That fear set in my chest like a second heartbeat. So I started collecting the shadows. After school, when the hallway's empty and teachers locked their doors, I'd sit alone in room 4B with a mason jar and a black cloth. At exactly 3:17 p.m., the hallway lights would hum softly, and the shadows would loosen themselves from the floors and walls like sleepy animals waking up. I'd whisper, "Hey, come here," and they would obey. The shadows peeled themselves away from desks and lockers, folding smaller and smaller until they slipped into the jar. Holding them felt like gripping frozen air. By October, I had 12 shadows trapped inside. They never spoke aloud, but every night I heard them in my mind while I tried to sleep. "Let me go, it isn't safe. He's watching." The voices sounded distant, cracked, and terrified, like whispers underwater. He was Mr. Barn, the new janitor who only worked nights. He had eyes like whetstones and hands that smelled of bleach and rusted metal. He caught me on October 17th. "Collecting things you don't own is stealing, Eli," he said from the doorway. The room was dark except for moonlight, but his shadow wasn't behind him. It stood in front of him instead, separate from his body, staring directly at me like another living person waiting to speak. I tried to run, but the classroom door slammed shut on its own. "Those aren't just shadows, Mr. Barnes said calmly. They're the pieces people leave behind when they lie, when they're afraid, when they refuse to say what they really mean." He walked slowly to my desk and lifted the jar. Inside, the trapped shadows pressed themselves desperately against the glass, twisting silently as though screaming without sound. "Give them back," I whispered, my voice cracking from fear. "Can't, Mr. Barn replied. "They're mine now. I'm the custodian. I keep the leftovers." He unscrewed the lid carefully. The shadows didn't escape. Instead, they climbed in. They crawled up his arms, slid across his shoulders, and disappeared into his mouth and throat while he swallowed without flinching. Then he stared at me. "Yours is the biggest one, Eli. You fit it every day since 4th grade." "I'm fine. It didn't hurt. I don't care." My knees gave up because he was right. In the corner of the classroom stood my own shadow, except it no longer copied my movements. It was taller than me now, with my face stretched older and angrier. "Every kid who lies to themselves leaves pieces here, Mr. Barn explained. I've cleaned this room for 40 years, but it's full now. And it's starting to leak." Suddenly the lights across the entire school died, plunging the building into complete darkness and silence. Outside the classroom window, every shadow on the playground slowly stood upright. None of them had people attached anymore. They moved together toward the school like a silent crowd. "Here's the lesson, kid," Mr. Barn said, sounding tired instead of frightening for the first time. "You can't lock truth inside a jar and expect it not to rot. Either you speak it, or eventually it speaks for you." Then he opened the classroom door and motioned for me to leave. "Go home, Eli," he told me. "Tell your mom you're scared she'll leave again. Tell Marcus you didn't mean to break his tablet. Tell Ms. Keller her Civil War lessons bore you." I ran all the way home without looking back once. I never returned to room 4B after that night. But sometimes, when the clock hits exactly 3:17 p.m., I still hear the hallway lights humming in my memory. And somewhere far away, 12 quiet voices whisper only 2 words now: "Thank you."